All right, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in modulation sources, 8 modulation sources into the Muxlicer, into these inputs right here. They're called the Mux IOs. I'm using them as inputs right now because I'm going to send them to a common destination. So I'm going to put a triangle wave from one VCO into input 1 here. Now, from the other VCO, I'm taking a saw wave and plug it into any old input here. Right now, it's going to be a pretty random patch anyway, so I'm not super worried about the order which I connect things. I'm using my multi-mode VCF here in self-oscillation as a third oscillator, audio rate oscillator going into here. Also taking the stepped output from my swamp module, which is a random voltage generator. So we're going to stick that right into another input here in the Muxlicer. Now I'm going to take a couple of slower LFOs and plug them into some other inputs right there. So we get a nice variation of modulation sources. There's 2 more audio oscillators down here. Those I can use short cables for. So let's take the sine wave from one of these, plug it in right here. Oh, the other one is actually going to be my voice. This is going to be a single voice patch, but it won't sound like it. It'll sound so complex that you'll see. So I'm going to take the COM IO, which is actually the output for right now. I'm going to stick it in the FM input here of the even VCO. And I still need one more modulation source, the swamp output of my swamp module, and stick it in there. Okay, so I have now 8 modulation sources plugged into the 8 mux inputs, and the mux output is going into my oscillator right there. Now the oscillator sine wave is going to go into channel 1 of my hex mix VCA, which is normaled to the hex mix. Now I'm going to plug in my envelope generator, which is the descent, one channel of the descent module. So that output is going to control the VCA CV input right here. Right, so that's a good chunk of my patch already done. Now next, what I have here in my notes, all gates to multi, right? So I'm going to take the all gates output from the Muxlicer and plug it in to a multiple, an active multiple right here. And those gates are going to trigger various things simultaneously. One of them is the envelope generator. So I'm going to stick that into the gate input of my descent module. The other one is one of my sample and holds, which is going to be generating random voltages. Then I can use to randomize the patch. So the sample and hold output is going to go into another multiple. Now I already know I'm going to need more than just 3 outputs from that, so I'm going to preemptively patch one multiple into the other, one multiple into the other. There you go. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outputs from my sample and hold. Now, what are the things I'm going to randomize with this? So let's see. One of them is the VCO itself. So I'm going to take one of my multiple outputs here and send it to another volt per octave input of my even VCO there, which is my voice. The other thing is a clock. So I'm going to use my teaser that's on this box right here. I'm going to use the ramp wave from the teaser as a clock. I'm going to send it to the clock input of the Muxlicer so that I can randomize that, and I'm going to send the sample and hold to the teaser FM input, exponential FM input. Right, so I'm going to be randomizing that clock, and that clock is controlling the Muxlicer there. The other thing I'm going to randomize is the decay of my envelope generator. So let's send another output of my sample and hold module out to attenuverter here, the TAM, triple attenuverting mixer. And we're going to come back. I just want to have more control over the over the CV before it goes into the decay input of my descent module. The descent module has voltage controlled decay. Next, I'm going to randomize two more things, which are the address input here on the Muxlicer. So that's going to randomize the steps of the Muxlicer, so they won't be sequential. The order will be randomized, which is cool. And then the other one, I'm going to send to delay time. I want to control that, so I'm going to send it to the North Coast mixer here before the crush delay, so that I can control how much CV I'm sending it to the delay. Now I've already sent the channel 1 here, to both my spring reverb and the crush delay. The last thing I'm going to randomize is going to be the gate mode, so that I get randomly varying bursts of gates. And I'm going to do that with a separate sample and hold that I have over here. This is the modulator from the Erica Synths Polyvox bundle. So that's going to go straight into the gate mode CV input here. Now this knob here becomes an attenuator, so I'm just going to leave it all the way up. Okay, I think that's the patch. Yeah, it's. I thought it was going to take longer to put it together, but let's turn it on and see what happens. There you go. So now, as you can see, we're getting varying gates, bursts here. We're getting a varied pitch center, random pitch center, a random order of steps in a random decay time. So I think now all that's left is to sit back and listen to this patch a little bit, since it's a generative patch that doesn't require any tweaking in my part. Oh, the only tweaking I will do is I'm gonna play around with the faders on the Muxlicer a little bit to go between more pure sounds and more FM sounds. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye for now and just close my eyes and trip out for a while. You can do the same if you will. Click like, subscribe, stay noisy, join my Patreon, you know, all that stuff. Bye.